Welcome everybody. Thank you for watching. This is Atlanta United Fan TV. AJ here. We're doing a little post-mortem recap. Joining me today is Tanner McLeod.
How's it going, guys?
And we're going to get a little sad again. It's a few days after the Columbus match. It's the feels are still there for me. I don't know about for you.
Yeah, should be playing tonight.
Yeah.
Should be at MBS right now.
Absolutely.
Sad days.
And especially with how the other games have gone in the playoffs, incredibly boring.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about us being in the playoffs that actually made it interesting. Not biased, just facts.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's sad because I think MLS could have used United in the playoffs because they've been such a good influence and
Absolutely.
for what the league's been this year. I mean, you see people like the BBC are writing about us, which is crazy because they could care less about MLS.
Right.
And not to mention just the style of play that
Right.
United bring to the table whenever they play,
Right.
attacking, flowing. It's interesting. I mean,
Right.
that's probably. I mean, I've talked to numerous people this week who are not soccer fans, and they went to the match and they were like, I didn't know that a 0-0 draw could be so boring. I mean, not boring. I mean, exciting and not boring. And they were like, we always thought 0-0 would be boring. And they're like, I had so much fun. They were sad that we lost, but
Right.
I think that there's a lot of people who never thought about being soccer fans.
Right.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've gone to a game and they've seen how it is. They've seen the atmosphere. They see how the team play.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they don't score, they're exciting.
Right.
So I think that's really cool to see the impact that it's had on the community.
Right.
And I've been talking to so many people this week about why is it people taking to the team so much? And
Right.
I think that because a lot of us, we're not from Atlanta and we don't have any teams here, and this is new and everyone's attached to it, and the way that they played, the way that they interacted with the community, I think really got people engaged. And which makes it so much worse now that we're out of the playoffs because
Absolutely.
even though we might have never even expected it,
Right.
now we're sitting at home and it's just like,
Yeah.
heartbroken already.
It's true. It's like I liken it to us being like ambassadors for MLS in a way where people that might not have exactly bought into MLS, they're kind of looking at the style of play, like you were saying, as something that is so attractive that they might get into it, into our league, and so that is very true. So yeah, the 0-0, it being so interesting, it's like, we hit the woodwork so many times. There were so many chances from our boys that, Josef hit the post, Miggy hit the crossbar. It was like just so many things that, if it fell just an inch the other way, we could be talking about a whole different thing right now.
Or not talking because we'd be at the match.
Exactly. No, exactly. At this point, yeah, definitely. It's we would be in the march walking to the stadium.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and so on a whole, it's their keeper just had a worldie. It's
had a game of his life.
Yeah,
game of his life.
And there you have adjacent fans, not even of any of the teams. They're saying he should be the U.S. keeper going forward.
Well,
I don't know about that.
That's a bit excessive off one game.
Yeah,
but the form he showed in that game, he looked like Tim Howard against Belgium.
Yeah, he did.
He was saving everything.
Although there's an argument to be made for how he made the saves. Apparently, some people were critiquing that he would jump late because he was reading the game slowly. And so that's why he was able to.
That wouldn't shock me. I mean, but it's just like you could get into technicalities of he's not as good, and which made him actually better.
Right.
I actually was talking to somebody about that when it came to the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
About Guzan, they're like, well, Guzan was going early, and my thing that I was saying about that was, I think that's because of his experience level.
Right.
Playing in the Premier League and in Europe, you have to go early. You have to guess because those players are so good that if you don't go early, you have no chance to save it.
Right.
Whereas in MLS, the quality's not there. So you could wait a little bit longer and find out where they're going and then make that save and be more reactionary as opposed to being more proactive.
Right.
And I think that might have hurt him because he's in that mode of how to save a penalty. And for the last 10 years, he's had to go.
Yeah.
And then in MLS, he might have been able to wait a little bit on some of them, which is what their keeper did because he's not as experienced.
Absolutely.
Didn't help that we had bad penalties, but
yeah. And speaking of the penalties, the penalty taking order was very interesting. Tata said after the match that he let the players determine their order, and that they actually didn't take penalty taking practice. So
I don't think they expected it. I think that it was something that, a first season. I mean, it's definitely a lesson that I think they'll learn going forward.
Definitely hope so.
But I mean, I don't think that United took overly too many penalties this year in general. Maybe 4 or
I think
5.
we were a little under average apparently for the first half of the year.
I mean, I know Miggy took one. I know Martinez took a couple.
Right.
I mean, he had 2 in that one game. But I mean, it's not like there was just an abundance of penalty taking to where you could see a lot of different guys take penalties.
Right. And
I think that was something that Columbus did, which was frustrating. It looked like they were playing that way or playing for that result the entire way.
Definitely.
Kind of, they knew that if they played open, they'd get taken to pieces. They played compact, they played narrow, they countered hard, they wasted their time. They knew that if they got into penalties, they were prepared for that because that was one of the ways they saw that they could win.
Absolutely.
I don't think that Atlanta even had that as a realm of possibility for an outcome to go to penalties, which I think we all saw with how underprepared and how poor the penalties were.
Right, definitely. And, with taking off Josef with 7 minutes left, that was definitely the head scratcher of the match.
I didn't have a problem with it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it. I thought he was poor throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he didn't offer much going forward. He was never in the right position when the balls were going into the box, which is very unusual for him.
Yeah.
He just seemed off the pace. He seemed exhausted. It didn't seem like his mind was there. I think that's been the case as well for the last few games going back. I don't know if there was something that happened, but he seemed just not right. Because usually, I mean, he had been subbed earlier in the season a couple times, and it wasn't like he was tearing off his tape, throwing his shin pads,
but
shaking his teammates' hands.
He had probably scored at that point versus not scored and then being taken off.
At the same time, it's like, I think that I love his competitiveness, and I love how he goes after everything, but he wasn't going after everything in that match like he usually does. He wasn't closing down the ball like he usually does. He wasn't making those runs in behind like he usually does. So there was just something about him that was just off about that.
And do you think it's fatigue, though, with maybe Miguel Almiron just getting back into match fitness?
I think that's something for sure. I mean, it's incredible when you're playing at that speed, and you don't really see that speed until you're up close, and then you see how fast he's got it, even at this level, how fast they're moving.
Sure.
And, it's tough because, you wish Miggy could have been back for that full Toronto game and played a full 90, because as much as you train, in the match, everything is different. Yeah. And I think that you could see that a little bit with them in that the chemistry was just a little bit off from missing Miggy for a month because the team had to play completely differently when he's not there. So I think that was definitely something that, that hurt, was that, it's his first game coming back, so maybe the wavelengths weren't perfectly in tune.
Exactly.
But but again, to go back to Martinez, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't. I don't know if his mind wasn't there. I mean, mind you, he's one of our best players, and you'd think that he'd be good to take a penalty.
Right. And I think that's why you want to keep him in, so that, it was looking like that's what they were doing in Columbus. They were bunkering down.
Especially once it got to extra time.
Absolutely, exactly. That's what they were doing. That was the strategy, and it seemed like both sides were, they weren't making runs. They were very much taking it easy. And so it was a very surprising sub. And then, with Jacob Peterson coming on, it seems like, you would want him to take one of the first 3 penalties. But that wasn't the case. I don't know what order it was after number 3, but, it seemed like, because we heard that Miggy was number 5.
I would have guessed Miggy was 5. That would have been my choice anyway.
Sure.
Would be have Miggy taking 4 or 5 with the idea that he's going to win you the game.
For sure, exactly. I mean, he can handle the pressure.
Absolutely,
he's done it.
But I think the thing about with the penalties is that, I mean, most of us have never seen half those guys take penalties.
For sure.
The only thing you're going to know about their penalties is whatever rating EA gave them in FIFA.
For sure.
And
they don't know either.
And they don't know either. Yeah. So it's like it's an entirely unfamiliar position for them. And I mean, who knows? If we do that again, all of our guys can come out and bury phenomenal penalties, and it's like, wow, we're really good at penalties.
For sure.
But I mean, it's such a crapshoot to begin with when it comes to penalties, because even the guys who are fantastic at taking penalties miss penalties in big moments.
For sure. Yeah, Lorenowitz is one of those people. He apparently took penalties for the Galaxy and the Rapids. So it's one of those, he has only missed 4 apparently in his MLS career. So that's pretty telling there. It's like, I think the momentum just wasn't on our side.
It was just, I mean, extra time was really dull, to be honest. Not a lot happened. I mean, I don't think that players in this league are conditioned to play 120. I think you see that happen a lot more in Europe, where they have more cup competitions.
For sure.
They're used to playing that. They train at a higher level.
Right.
Their seasons are more games. Their endurance is there. And also, you know, how backloaded I think the schedule was probably hurt United a bit. The fatigue definitely built up. I mean, hamstring injury for Garza, hamstring injury for Almiron. I mean, those are fatigue injuries. Hamstrings usually a lot of the time. You know, from just playing a lot. So, you know, we won't have that, I don't think, next season because.
Hopefully not.
Well, I mean, I guess we will actually because of the World Cup, but. We don't have that many people playing in the World Cup, so they'll get that little break there in the middle.
Definitely. Which will really help us,
But I mean, I think fatigue, what you said earlier, I think that had a lot to do with it. But I mean, it was just one of those games, man. Columbus was in form. You know, I wasn't comfortable going into it. A lot of people were very comfortable. I was not. They were unbeaten in 10.
Exactly.
They had a very good result the week before against NYCFC. It wasn't like they were playing bad. They're playing to keep that team in their city. I mean, they had a lot going for them. And I mean, they have to be given credit because they played well. They stuck to their game plan. They were very tight defensively. They made saves when they had to. You know, they should have scored themselves. They created chances when they had the chance. So, you know, I think that, you know, it was a good game. It was sad that we lost. It was a rough way to go out in the end of the season, especially that they had so many highs to end on a low like that. But, you know, I can't be too upset with an expansion team finishing 4th and hosting a playoff game, breaking the goal record for an expansion team, having one of the top goal differences in the league ever for any team, breaking records with, you know,
in attendance,
having those people show up. I mean, one of the moments in that game where everyone took their phones out and started having the lights go was incredible.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was I haven't seen anything like that before, and it went viral on social media, and it was just like. It was incredible. And I hope it's something that we start doing going forward. I think that'd be really, really cool to have somehow how we can integrate that into the.
We just have to do it smoothly because we were doing it with the "We Ready" chant, and I think it was one of those like.
Just kind of happened.
But it was at the end of the game where it was like, what are we ready for? Are we ready for the game to end? Like,
I think I don't know. I think it was like saying that we were ready for like extra time. I don't know.
It just seemed like an odd
kind of odd chant to go with it, but it was really cool just to see. But I mean,
but we ended up doing the Atlanta United chant with that, so that was much smoother. And I think the videos that are out there that are disseminated are much better with that. So unfortunate way to end our season, but what were the best moments for you?
I think I'd go the 3-3 draw with Orlando City. That first record-breaking match with 70,000 people. That was incredible. I mean, it was a draw, but it was so back and forth. And at the end, I really felt like the whole stadium was behind the team. It felt like we were going to score the winner. We didn't, but I mean, Martinez hat trick. It was a phenomenal back and forth game. High
came
scoring,
back 3 times.
Came back 3 times. I mean, genuinely, I mean that was peak levels of excitement and one of just the better soccer matches I've actually seen. So I'd go the 3-3 with Orlando.
Yeah, I'm with you there. For me, I think it has to be the very first game where everybody realizes, oh, this is for real. Like there's. I just get chills thinking about it, really. I mean, like, even though we lost, it's one of those, like, the Yamil Assad goal, that moment is just, incredible. I still get chills every single time I watch it. And, even though, Carmona gets a red or something and, then we lose, it doesn't matter to me. Like that whole experience that day, it woke this city up to soccer.
I remember when I walked over the hill from Tech's campus where that quad kind of grassy area is, and I walked over the hill and looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, there's this many people standing outside the stadium. I was blown away.
For sure.
I mean, it was incredible. I loved it, and it just I'm a lifelong soccer fan, and to see that here in America, in Atlanta,
exactly,
the team that I just got a season ticket to, and going, okay, this is going to be legit.
Right.
I had no, I mean, I knew that there was hype. I knew that people had bought tickets, but I didn't know that it was going to be like that, or like what it became. To see that, as a founding member, no idea that it's going to be like that. I mean, no idea that this city is going to be this woke for soccer.
For sure.
And to see what it turned into, and to see how many people are now interested in the sport after one season. Exactly. I can only imagine that. I'm being optimistic here, but hey, within a couple seasons, the president of Eels, he said that he wanted to be selling the whole stadium every match. Yeah. And I see no reason why, if we can keep the core together, if we can keep Tata here, we have great foundations that we've put down.
Absolutely, for sure.
And I don't think those can be, overstated with how they're trying to run this club. They're trying to run this club like a proper club, which a lot of teams in MLS don't do. We have youth coming through, but we'll get into that later. I'm talking about the future, but
definitely.
There were so many great moments, though. in an inaugural season like that, so many great moments.
For sure, and especially, the front office is doing everything right, which is something really to be proud of. Our training facility is top notch. Like Don Garber, the commissioner, is saying stuff like, this is like top class, like it's
the way it should be done.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have that, and then the Benz is just an incredible state of art.
Although apparently the roof's leaking.
Yeah. Every stadium and new thing is going to come with its caveats and with the things that So I've heard there's rats in Mercedes-Benz. What can you do? There's rats all over Atlanta.
Yeah, usually they're wearing the referee shirts whenever we play, but
yeah, exactly, right. It's true. Ooh, man, that's
hot take.
That's a dig, man. Ooh.
Hot take. But looking at you, ref, of the Minnesota game. Looking at you.
Right. And so, which segues into something that I saw today. It was that Mark Geiger is one of the referees up for MLS Referee of the Year, which is very interesting.
Was that the ref of that game?
No, it wasn't, but or it could have been, but I can't recall. But either way, it's like Mark Geiger is one of those like infamous guys, so it's a head scratcher.
In my opinion, most of them are not very good.
Well, for sure.
Even with VAR, it's incredible how either they ignore it, or they just don't look at it, or they still get it wrong, or they have to have it as a crutch.
Yeah.
For top professional league, first off, they're not paid enough. If you look at the figures, they're paid so low. They're training low. They have to have day jobs, so it's like they fly there on the weekend. It's not like they're being paid a solid amount of money to have training like in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
The refs, especially in Europe, that's their job. They train every week. They review film. They make sure their decisions are right. We don't have that here, so we suffer from that. And it's really frustrating when you go to a match and you just see these calls, and it's like, how do you miss that? Now, it's always going to be a part of the game.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating when penalties happen and you're like, that's a penalty. And it's like, no penalty. And then they don't go to the VAR. And it's just like, how?
Right. No, very true,
Or it's like, that's clearly a red card. And then they have to go to the VAR to confirm what everyone in the stadium knows.
For sure. Yeah. Which, even if they're wrong, stop throwing water balls. Stop it.
That's just that was probably one of my lowlights of the season. As angry as I got, I'm not going to throw something.
Right.
So please, guys, we can have an intimidating atmosphere, in which I think we already have.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do that by throwing things at the refs, throwing things at players. We don't have to do that. Right. Now, we can have chants, we can have digs, we can say whatever we want to as long as within the realms of reason.
Right.
But throwing things, that's something that we don't need to do. It's a little bit of like a PSA service plug here.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. We're smart. Let's do that.
And we're going to jump off our soapbox for this. Yeah. And then speaking of those MLS awards, a lot of our players got nominated, which is fantastic. There's 5 of them, which I think leads the league. We have newcomers with Miguel Almiron and Joseph Martinez.
Absolutely.
We have
one of those should definitely win.
Definitely. Could you choose?
I choose Almiron. I'd choose Miggy. I think that Martinez is incredible.
Yeah.
But
he did it all season. Yeah.
I think that if you take one player out of the side, I think when you pull Miggy out, it's a bigger difference than if you take Martinez out. Because a lot of people don't realize is that Vidal was technically a striker. We just moved him to the right wing.
Sure.
And I thought he did great, which is why he's up for goal of the season.
Yeah.
Because he can hit the heck out of a ball.
For sure.
So I think that you can definitely slide him up top if you're missing Martinez.
Yeah.
When you lose Almiron,
you miss the playmaker.
You miss that playmaking in the middle. And I think that Gressel's a phenomenal player. But that burst of pace that Almiron has, when he picks up the ball at the halfway line, we win possession back, and he starts driving at the defense, I'm always excited. I'm always leaning in. I'm always going, what's this guy going to do?
For sure. And it's one of those, like, he's dribbling and all that, and then he gets fouled in a good spot, where we might get a free kick and stuff like that. That also, works in our favor. Gressel, as good as he is, he's not exactly doing that.
No. But, I mean, he's a little bit younger.
For sure, yeah. It's his first
they're all
year.
young, which is incredible. I mean,
for
buck
sure.
the trend with this one. We don't have any
I think
John Terry
Gressel's younger.
aging players. We have all these young guys, all these
Right.
young guns who are all just going to improve, which is exciting.
Gressel's but Gressel's actually older, I think.
Is he?
What I was gonna say. Yeah, Gressel, because he went to college, he went to Providence in Massachusetts.
He's just a rookie, I guess.
Yeah, he's technically rookie, and so he's probably going to win the Rookie of the Year,
which would be awesome, which he deserves. I mean,
absolutely.
He has a lot more assists than even I realized.
For sure,
and he scored some great goals as well.
Absolutely, a lot with his outside of his right foot, which for a guy to have that much poise in front of the goal, it's very amazing. As for a rookie. And so, I mean, it's a little bit, the pool of Rookie of the Years aren't very good.
No.
So he pretty much is a runaway.
Absolutely.
But, and then, I mean, so, with all those awards, I think it really shows how good of a season we really have.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the awards, if you had to pick a player of the season for yourself, not MLS, just us, just Atlanta United, who would you go with?
At the risk of sounding redundant, I mean, Miguel Almiron is our player of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
He did it all season. He put the team on his back, especially when guys were out. And you could see that when he was out at the end of the year. Our results kind of faded in that sense.
Absolutely.
Because of that. We lost more than we really ever did, and we drew more than we ever did. So it's what can you do?
I think the evidence does point to he is our player of the season and
For sure.
in the heartbeat of that team. Now that's not to take anything away from Martinez, because
definitely not.
That guy when he's in form is probably the most lethal striker in MLS, which is crazy because he's only been in this league for a year.
Exactly.
I 100% think that if he didn't miss that period of time, he would have won Golden Boot.
For sure.
I mean, that guy is incredible.
Yeah.
And I love him.
Right.
Minus his attitude at the end of the season.
Which I think it attributes to
his competitiveness.
Yeah, to competitiveness and the results at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
And him wanting to
I think he wants it. He really he's one of those guys that to go to another competitor like him, it reminds me a little bit in the competitiveness of, like I say, Ibrahimovic, who just wants it so much to where he doesn't care if he looks like a bit, of a bad guy.
Sure.
He just wants to win.
For sure.
And I think that I can't be upset with him for having that outlook. It's just kind of frustrating when you see teammates, trying to come on and he's taking his tape off.
For sure, and not giving them a high five. I mean, I get that from from people, but it's one of those, like, if you've watched other leagues as well, you can kind of notice that there's a trend of those type of players that will be upset at their taking about Balotelli and Alexis Sanchez, that type of thing. So who surprised you the most during the season?
I think Walks really improved. He was a lot when he first came on the first couple times. I was like,
for sure. Yeah, he gave up an own goal versus Red Bulls in the first game. I mean, that pretty much will set you back for a while.
It was. I was not convinced at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced by LGP the first few times he played.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, they both turned in. I mean, LGP. One of the best defenders in the league, I think.
Yeah, and the stats prove that.
The stats prove that. Yeah. And Walks really, really, really improved towards the end of the season, where I was not happy when he would go off the pitch. I was not happy when Mears came on.
Oh, for sure.
Because I thought that Walks really had improved to be a really quality right back.
Right.
I think that Assad improved a lot. I mean, he's not as quick as anyone else in that front four. He's not maybe as talented as anyone else in that front four, but he's got some trickery to him that
he's got the technical
I think
skills.
That his confidence improved as the season goes on. But if I had to pick one player, I'd say Walks, which is a shame because he's probably not going to be back next season.
Yeah, it's well, that's a question. I mean, it's is he? I mean, he by all accounts wants to stay. But is Tottenham going to want to keep him here for his development or move him to a championship side for his development? And that's the question.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's going to. I mean, the positive is that if there's any club in MLS that has a great relationship with Spurs, it's going to be United because of Darren Hills.
For sure.
So I think that he'll be working on that right now because I think that everyone would like to keep him here.
Right.
But if the championships would suit him better for his own personal development, I can't say anything bad about it because he worked hard, he gave everything for us, and I think he's really come to relish being here, and I think he can take that back and. Maybe we can get some more guys from over there that want to impress because if they want to, we'll definitely welcome them.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, like the championship sides, I think are, a good, kind of barometer of maybe we can, kind of poach a lot of their players.
It's a good league too.
Yeah.
I mean, the championships are really, it's a tough league.
It's just an
hard
underwatched league.
It's just
apparently.
an underwatched league.
Yeah. And
there's quality there. And I mean, there's players in that league that I would certainly take.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, so...
Yeah, and, like Bradley Wright Phillips of Red Bulls, he actually talked about that where he, wants to see more championship players come to MLS because he himself, I think he admitted, like, that's his level.
Yeah.
And so, he gets more recognition here. The fans love him in New York. And he gets recognized walking out and stuff like that. Like he just has a better experience playing in MLS.
We're gonna have better weather, that's for sure.
And better weather, absolutely.
Most of the time, not Minnesota in March though.
For sure, yeah. And depending on how much you like heat, I guess.
Yeah, Atlanta, I mean, depends on wherever you want. But I mean, I think that's a route that MLS should definitely look into.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get those players in the Premier League yet. Yeah, but if you can build up the quality of the league as a whole, eventually, 15, 20 years from now, you might be at that level where the money's going to be there.
With our season being over, are there some adjustments that you'd want to make with the roster and, improvements? What do you think?
I think that there's definitely some areas that we could use some more depth at. I think that up top, definitely, for when Martinez goes out, because I think Jones is gone. I hope he's gone.
There's a rumor he retired.
Probably for the best with his last
knee
performances.
And stuff,
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Peterson's not bad, don't get me wrong, but I'd like something a little bit more than that. I mean, he's 29, 30 years old. I'd like someone a bit younger maybe. I mean, you can't be too picky. I mean...
Yeah, for depth, they don't want to sit on the bench.
I think that definitely something that's interesting is... You could maybe move Villalba in there for some depth purposes because I think Carlton's going to play next year.
Oh, absolutely.
I've got to think that he's going to start making some strides because I think he's good enough. He had a fantastic time at the U17 World Cup.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a lot of youth coming in, which is amazing. I love that idea of growing them from within and putting them out there.
Absolutely.
I think center back, for sure. Parkhurst has been phenomenal, but he's old. He doesn't have much pace. He's great, but at the same time, you need someone who's solid, who's younger to go next to LGP. I think that if Walks does go, right back's definitely a concern area.
Definitely.
I don't think Mears is good enough. I think the statistics show that. He might do better going forward, but at the same time, I think you need a little bit more balance there. I'd like to see Garza stay.
Yeah.
Because technically Garza is on loan, but I'd like to see him stay. I think he offers a lot at left back. I think the overlap that you get with him, the work rate, the pace.
Yeah, the combo play with Yamil Saad
was fantastic.
And Miggy.
And Miggy was great. It was a great triangle there. Yeah. I think in the center of the park, we're in good shape. Carmona and Larenowitz are really, really quality. I think there's a lot of balance there. Carmona, I think, is really underrated.
For sure.
Because you don't hear his name a lot, but he does a lot of the dirty work in there that you need. I like how Larenowitz drops back into defense when we're in possession. But I guess to sum it, I'd say right back if Walks goes, center back for sure, and some more cover up top because the options we had off the bench this year weren't great. And I think you could see that with Vasquez.
Yeah,
I think you could see him improving going forward, but he's also very young and he showed flashes here and there. But that's something that you got to see going forward. But I still would like to see someone come in that could push him to be better.
Yeah.
As opposed to just saying, hey, you're the number 2.
Right.
So I think that having a little bit of depth there would be good.
Yeah,
what about
definitely. You? And I think to go off of your points, Greg Garza, he's on loan from Tijuana. There's some concerns about his injury history, his hip. Various leg injuries throughout the year. That could be a thing where I love the guy and I love what he brings to the team because defensively and offensively I had no complaints. But when he was out, McCann deputized very, very admirably. And so, he's still on contract with a fairly large contract.
Yeah.
Is it something that we, clear our books in a sense to, be able to bring in some more cover for a right back or cover for, a striker? I mean, that's one of the tough things that this front office is gonna have to figure out.
I mean, there's so many little weird nuances with MLS as well.
For sure.
Because we'll have to lose somebody to the expansion draft for LAFC.
Yeah, that's if they have one.
If they have
we'll
one.
See.
But I mean, that's one of those things. DP rules are weird. Just international player rules are weird. There's a lot of those things that
the GAM, the TAM,
all kinds of
very,
stuff
very
that
strange.
Incredibly complex, convoluted, and weird. But I think that the squad as a whole is good. They showed
for sure.
I think they got unlucky.
Yeah,
I think just
definitely.
a little bit more depth in some certain areas.
For sure.
I think moving forward. But that's a great point about McCann, though. He did really. My only issue with McCann is the lack of pace.
Oh, for sure.
I like to see that from the fullbacks to have a little bit more pace to get that overlap.
Definitely. But he's got a great cross in him.
He's got a great cross. His positioning's very, very good. His work rate's good. He gives you a lot more balance, I think, defensively. Because he's going to track back.
Right.
Whereas Garza sometimes is way out to sea bombing forward.
Oh, for sure. And so, I mean, along with Garza, Yamil is also on loan, and that's one of those everybody was pining for us to sign him during the season. I don't think it's going to happen until if there's an expansion draft for LAFC because, if he's on the books, that means somebody else isn't on the books.
Right.
So it's tough. So if it is Yamil, if he stays, absolutely wonderful because that combo play between all the players is amazing. But if it isn't, do we find an even better player? Perhaps. I don't want to take away Tito's best friend, but it's one of those if we even buy down Tito's contract and make him not a DP because apparently his contract is not that hefty. It's crazy. Then if we bring in somebody else
as a DP,
that would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. I agree with that. Yeah.
And then all the while, Carlton gets his play in between, deputizing on the wings, maybe deputizing for Miggy. Yeah. So. It's very, very interesting things, and
I
also
think he's Miggy's natural successor as well.
I think so.
I mean, I think that he's a guy that, with his pace, with his creativity, his passing, that I don't want to lose Miggy. Yeah. There's been transfer rumors out there about Miggy.
Arsenal, Inter Milan.
If I don't think he should go to either one of those two clubs at the time because I don't know where he'd be in that first team setup, but not as a starter. I don't think.
Exactly.
But with what he's done just in one season, with how much we love him, we'd be sad to see him go.
Right.
But if he wants to, I think that we should let him because of the type of character he is.
Right.
And the risk he took at this club to come here in the first place.
For sure.
It's amazing. But that being said, I want him to stay 2 more years. Then he can find some really nice move for himself.
For sure.
And be a starter. Because I think he has that potential.
For sure. And I think if you saw us winning the MLS Cup, we would be talking about a whole different thing. Maybe the players might be looking at a move,
which could be a good thing to keep them here.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe. Well, I think you want to win, the cup versus not winning the cup. In any scenario, but this is maybe the only caveat is.
Yeah.
Players. We get to enjoy watching them for another year, at least. But and that's also the the question is. How long are these players signed for?
Yeah.
MLS doesn't really let us know.
They're really murky about that.
So we have no idea.
How long's their contract?
Exactly. But, and I think another player, I think we need some sort of cover for Larenowitz because, he is getting, up there in age. He had probably one of the best seasons of his life, his career. This season with us, I don't see him playing every single game like he did. Yeah, and Carmona as well. Like, he's also 30. Having two guys in the middle of the park doing most of the running, because that's really where it is. I think it's a huge ask to see that continuity going forward. So who it could be Chris Goslin coming in from as a homegrown. That could be good, but I think we need to look elsewhere as well to get somebody like what we were looking at young player wise.
I think that's the model we should stick to going forward. I mean, I think that's what their plan is.
Yeah.
Because I think that the whole old retiring.
Yeah.
35-year-olds from Europe. I don't think that's really a model that MLS wants anymore, or that we should follow, because the quality is there when these young guys, these guys that can run, they can run people off the park, and I think that's something that we should keep doing moving forward.
And it's more exciting as a product. It's more exciting as a fan to watch it. So I think that's what the league wants to move into, that 3.0. So it's definitely where the league is going to. Hopefully we still follow suit as well as what we're doing. Because like Brad Guzan is technically one of those,
but he's also a keeper. So I mean, he's still got 7 years left if he wanted to.
For sure,
I mean, keepers can play till they're 40. So.
Exactly. If we're going by like Buffon territory, then absolutely, for sure. Let's wrap up the entire experience of the season. Maybe like an anecdote from you, like what was your favorite part of being a Five Stripe fan this season?
I think for me, the surprise of how the sport is taking hold here in not just the United States, but here in Atlanta. Yeah. The passion that we've showed, the passion that the players have shown, the style of play we have. I very quickly have fallen in love with this team, and I don't think I would be this heartbroken over not being in the playoffs anymore.
Definitely.
But I'm very excited to see what's going forward, and I'm ready for next season. I need it to be March already. And I think that this is a club that's heading in the right direction. It's got solid foundations. It's built to run the right way. And I think that we'll see ourselves hoisting an MLS Cup here within the not-too-distant future, to be perfectly honest.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think, to piggyback off of your thought of, how broken you were, I definitely, it was hard for me to do the interviews after the match, and there was an unprecedented amount of people that had come after, probably our most just, crazy game. I mean, it's like, I had a really hard time, but, I think you guys coming on, like, really helped me kind of get through that. It was kind of a an AA meeting of sorts. Definitely. But
I mean, I think we've felt heartbreak, and we have a low point now. So we know, you hear all these fans talking about, well, I remember when. Well, it's fresh. We know this first season, we felt that first heartbreak.
Right.
We're gonna feel more. It's gonna happen. We're not gonna win it.
That's the nature of sports.
We're not gonna be a Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Manchester United to win the league every single year, every other year.
Absolutely.
Hey, we might be. But right now, we're still early.
I think we're gearing towards that.
I'd love it. I'd love it. I don't care if everyone's like, "Oh, Atlanta United, we hate you guys." I want everyone to hate us in a few years.
Yeah, if we're winning, supporter shields and cups, and
that's what I want. I want us to be at the level where everyone's like, "Oh, you're an Atlanta United supporter," and be like, "Yeah, season ticket holder, first season."
Yeah, exactly.
And they just hate us. I want them to come here and to be scared when they go into that stadium. I want them to hate us when we come to their stadium. I want them to boo us whenever we show up.
Absolutely.
And I think that we're heading in the right direction, and I'm excited.
Yeah. I think that that venom that Orlando City fans feel, like if we can feel that from all the teams because we're winning, that would be...
It's weird where you want to be hated, but I want to be hated. I want teams to know, they're going to come in, and if we don't play well, they're going to put 5 passes.
Exactly. And they're going to be ruthless. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great stopping point. Thank you, Tanner, for coming on.
Man.
Really appreciate that. If you like the video, please smash a like. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. And
get involved in the comments as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Throw what do you want to see from us in the future? We have a lot more videos coming up on transfers, on on FIFA stuff, on just everything that's going on in Atlanta related to Atlanta United.
Absolutely.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
So
we're growing like the club is growing.
Exactly.
I think that like the club, we want everyone to be involved. If you're watching, bash what your player of the season was, your moment of the season was.
Exactly.
And we want to form this community here, I think. I don't think I want to be too idealistic in saying that, to where we have this fan base.
Sure.
And I think that's something we want to have going forward.
Absolutely.
And we'd love for you guys to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.